didn't think you set up. So back to you. Stop trying to, you're smirking and you're evading might be fun now. It's not going to be fun when we're investigating you for contempt of Parliament.
Spotify, it was Shopify, the name that was mentioned way back when in the finance testimony.
Point of order.
Point of order, Mr. Angus.
Yes, Mr. Sorbera has deeply embarrassed me. I'm showing my age of getting Spotify and Shopify mixed up, so I want it stricken from the Hansard record, so I'll never show myself that old.
I'm not sure that's a point of order, but
that's not a point of order.
I'm sure you're debating with yourself.
Continue, Mr. Sorbera.
You're welcome. I just
thank you, colleagues. Mr. Sorbera, we'll turn back to you.
I would like that time given back to me, so we can ask the next one.
What was the name of the assistant that you claim wrote your email through LinkedIn to Mr. Benchen?
Mr. Poilievre, I've gotten death threats. Our staff have gotten death threats. The Speaking Bureau has gotten death threats. I am not naming another employee, especially a former executive assistant, to you, sir.
So we will be asking for it to be handed over to the committee. And we can keep that information from the public, but I want to find out if this person actually exists. Do you commit to giving that person's name to the committee?
With the permission of that person and the conversations that will unfold, we'll get back to you on that point. That's a private matter.
No, it's not a private matter, actually. This is someone you claim was writing correspondence to the Prime Minister's office on your behalf. We want to confirm that this person actually exists because the correspondence that has your name on it contradicts the testimony that you've given directly. And you will need to provide it to prove that you, in fact, actually are telling the truth here, because it's very hard to believe. You said you sent 100 different emails thanking people for their role in setting up the Canada Student Service Grant? Is that what you said?
Mr. Poilievre, does anybody in your office write your correspondence?
I'm asking you, the question was 100 people, yes or no? Is that how many people you thanked for setting up your Canada Student Service Grant?
Do you write all your correspondence, sir? You don't have an assistant helps you out with any of it?
I can tell you I didn't send Ben Chin an email thanking him for a program that I didn't think you set up. So back to you. Stop trying to, you're smirking and you're evading might be fun now. It's not going to be fun when we're investigating you for contempt of Parliament. Did you actually send 100 different thank yous to members of the government for their role in helping set up the Canada Student Service Grant? That's the question, and it's a yes or no.
No, because we sent 100 messages to different individuals across a variety of industries that I was asking to link with me on LinkedIn, and each got a personalized 2-line, would you link with me? And it was a personalized 2-line message to each individual prepared by my EA. They came from 100 lists. We had hundreds of names. The EA shortlisted it because I asked her to build my LinkedIn profile.
Right. Okay, so you just randomly, if somehow or another, in the middle of setting up this program, you decided to add Ben Chin, whom you claimed you hadn't spoken to in 2 years, to a list of people to randomly thank about creating a program you thought he had no role in creating.
It was one of 100 names that were contacted that day to me on LinkedIn. And
right. Yeah.
That's the simple fact.
Well, next question. How much did you pay for Sophie Trudeau's attendance at the London weed event in March of 2020? How much?
So just to be clear, we've previously given all the...
No, you haven't actually. No, sorry, you haven't. To be clear, again, you're giving false testimony. You have not given the itemized... Sorry, you have not given the itemized amounts for that event.
Chairman? Excuse
How
me,
much?
Mr. Chairman?
Do I see a point of order, Ms. Latanzio?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interject, but I mean, I think that we're supposed to be working in collaboration and trying to get the information, as much information as we possibly can.
Ms. Latanzio, is there a point of order?
Yes, there is.
Okay, I'll hear your point of order.
Okay. I think that, we ask a question and then we answer a question, or we assume that we know the answer to the question. I defer to you, Mr. Chairman, and see and ask you as to whether or not this is, part of decorum. No, I'm sorry, if this is part of decorum, and I need for you to rule on this part of, the way we're carrying ourselves in this committee today. Thank you. I need for you to rule on that.
I ruled in support of, I believe that we are undertaking according to the rules. Thank you. Mr. Poilievre, we'll turn to you to finish off the questions.
I have a point of order.
Point of order, Mr. Dong.
Yeah, could you clarify, is this wrong, the 5-minute round or 2.5 minute round? Because your answer to Mr.
This is a 5-minute round, and we will get to okay. You are splitting your time next.
All right.
Thank you. Mr. Poilievre, we'll let you finish that question and get an answer from the Kielburgers, and then we'll move on to the next question.
Just the total amount that the We organizations and its affiliates paid in transportation, fees, accommodations, and any other expenses related to Miss Sophie Gregoire's attendance at the We event in March of 2020 in London. Just the amount, please, for that event.
So I don't have it, but we'll get it for you. And I just want to clarify that what we previously gave the was the total amounts.
Just the total, not the itemized. You have not given the itemized amounts, and I know that you don't want it to be public how much you paid for her accommodations and for that sumptuous travel right before you sought government funding from her husband. Next question. Is there another family that you paid over $400,000 in fees and expenses other than the Trudeaus?
Mr. Poilievre, we are out of time now. We'll turn to Mr. Kielburger.
Can we just get an answer from that?
To answer that question, absolutely.
Over 25 years, we've engaged dozens of speakers, and so that dollar amount would not be out of the norm for our most frequent speakers.
Can you name one family?
Oh, I'm not going to name those names, but there are speakers who have come to multiple events, who have done multiple fundraisers in excess of 40 events as they did in fundraisers and awareness raisers for us. We've absolutely paid because we don't do telemarketers. We don't do street canvassers. This is how we raise funds.
Over $400,000 to one family.
Thank you, Mr. Poilievre. We'll turn to Mr. Erskine Smith, splitting his time with Mr. Dong.
Thanks very much. And I appreciate your time here. I'm just wondering, because I know you said you wanted to get to the and Reed Cowan's concerns, and I appreciate that. How were you able to confirm that the plaques had in fact been removed? Who on the ground confirmed that to you?
Sorry, would you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so you've confirmed that Reed Cowan's the plaque was removed. You said you confirmed that it happened in one other instance.
Yeah.
How did you confirm that? Who on the ground? I don't need a name. Just what position of that individual confirmed that to you?
One of the locals. Bike and drove out to the school and took a look to make sure that and found the plaque wasn't there, and that was a serious issue. Yes.
And you were aware that the plaque for Reed Cowan was associated with that particular school?
Correct.
We didn't think you set up. So back to you. Stop trying to. You're smirking and you're evading might be fun now. It's not going to be fun when we're investigating you for contempt of Parliament.
Because I gave you so much time in the last one, Mr. Angus.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to be a bug. I'm sure you're already probably putting more misinformation that I'm claiming on Twitter, but I may not be able to read a budget, you think, but I can certainly read your emails when you supply them. And this idea of dragging Rachel Wernick continually, I find really troublesome because she did not reach out to you. You had already established this, and it says, Craig Kielburger. Now, I hope we're not going to have another LinkedIn moment, but to Minister Chagger, dear Minister Chagger, thank you for your time Friday. That's April 17th. We appreciate your thoughtful offer to connect us with relevant members of your ministry. That would be Rachel Wernick. And over the weekend, so that's the 2 days before Rachel Wernick reaches out to you, our team has been hard at work to adapt your suggestion of a second stream focused on a summer service opportunity. We have outlined a 3-month summer service jobs opportunity to engage 20,000 young people, and you basically list what becomes the Canada Summer Student Grant. Now, I bet you don't have to register time as a lobbyist for having spent all that time all weekend before Rachel Wernick contacted you because, as you said, you're just a volunteer. So that's the record. All this misinformation that you talked to her 3 years ago is irrelevant. You talked to the minister on April 17th. You don't want to seem to deal with that. And then you contacted her to remind her that you'd talked to her on the 17th, and she was going to put you in touch, which she did on the 19th. So that's the record. But because I only have a few seconds left, I want to go back to Reed Cowan, a member of your board, your advisory board. for you to tell us that you're really shocked this only ever happened once, even though we know you took down at least 2 of his plaques, he has asked for police investigation. He has asked for the IRS to investigate you. He has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. Are you, Reed Cowan, and all the other donors across this country and across North America, that this Velcro plaque scheme that your staff bragged about only happened twice?
So we are grateful to every single one of our donors. And when a mistake is made, no one is more upset than us. And I am so upset about this. And I know,
but David Stillman, who paid for all the Stillman Foundation, who paid for all the audits that exonerated you, he had a conversation with Mr. Cowan, we were told. So, someone who is paying your audits represents you to call Mr. Cowan, and he tells him to drop it. He says to just drop it. So that's not exactly saying sorry. It's like you're making the organization look bad. So again, are you telling me that this only happened twice and all these Velcro plaques that people were lying to Bloomberg, people were lying to the Fifth Estate, Mr. Cowan just is upset and got it wrong? Is that your position? That's all I need to know. Is that your position?
That'll be the last question there on this round, Mr. Angus. Mr. Kielburger, we'll turn to you.
To our tens of thousands of donors over the years, the projects have gone to where they're supposed to. We have done our best, and we're grateful because the money got to the kids as it is supposed to. And in that, it has changed lives, millions of lives. And we're grateful to each and every one of our donors.
We'll turn to Mr.
Cowan's plaque.
We'll turn to Mr. Carey, and he'll be splitting his time with Mr. Poilievre. Mr. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given the statements made in We Economy, it's clear that We Charity conducted a survey that collected data on voting in the 2011 federal election. So my question is, how did you receive the contact information of these We alumni when many of them would have been underage kids at the time of the We Day that they attended? And I'm curious, how was the data collected and by whom? And did you ever contract your data analysis with any third parties that also might do data analysis for political parties, such as data sciences, for example?
So to the honourable member, the short answer is no on the data sciences or any associated group that would do political data analysis. And that was part of an university called Mr. Measurement, and they asked young people if, because of the program, they're more likely to do many things, including vote. And that volunteer, give to charity. And we never, I'll save you the time of asking, we never asked who they voted for, and we had no interest in that information.
All right. I was wondering, will you provide to the committee a copy of the reports that Mission Measurement LLC provided to We Charity on the project, that the Free the Children alumni study?
Absolutely. And in fact, we're very proud of the outcomes. 80+% of our youth alumni continue to volunteer. 79% voted in the last federal election. I believe 83% continue to give to charity. It's such a shame that that's coming to an end, those programs in Canadian schools.
Now, did you share that report with any other third parties?
Yes, absolutely. It's actually on our website. So anyone can look at the report.
I was looking for it. I didn't see it. Now, what measures do you use to control the use of We Charity data and for youth that may have signed up for these We events? Because the We events, they're looked after of Me to We, right? And then the charity is a separate thing altogether. So how do you control this data that's collected by either the charity or Me to We?
So all the We Day events were, of course, part of We Charity. It was part of that initiative through the We Charity and the We Schools initiative. A very robust system. We haven't shared that data with anybody, including political parties, and followed proper processes and protocols.
So you can guarantee that data was not shared with any provincial or federal political party?
Correct.
You can do that?
Thank you, Mr. Carey. We'll turn to Mr.